Councillor Perks.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. So, we have to remember what it is we're actually here to debate. We're here to debate the long-term financial health of the City of Toronto. That's what the report is entitled. The long-term fiscal sustainability of the city. And there are certain questions we have to ask ourselves as we address that question. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, and many in this chamber have mentioned it, is do we need more revenue? And I was delighted to hear Budget Chief Gary Crawford finally, after years of being a supporter first of Mayor Ford and now of Mayor Tory, concede that yes, we need new revenues in the City of Toronto if we're going to deliver the suite of services that Torontonians ask of us. Absolutely, we do need new revenues. The second question we should be asking ourselves is, what is the right and appropriate suite of revenues? Well, we have a couple of suggestions, some of them very minor, the hotel tax and so on, that will contribute small but only symbolic amounts of money, and one fairly large proposal, which is the road toll proposal. And when you test that against how much money we need, according to the city manager, it comes up about $25 billion short, at least, on our capital side, and a few $100 million, and we don't have a precise number, short on our annual operating budget. In other words, the package that the Executive Committee passed and sent to this Council for consideration will not provide the level of services that Torontonians expect of us. And we've seen it in our draft budget. After putting in a fair increase, the TTC, we still are tens of millions of dollars short on their budget. We're going to have to find something else to cover that. We've seen that we're taking money out of Toronto community housing, literally taking money from the sale of houses that used to be affordable housing, literally taking that money and using it to contribute to balancing our operating budget this year. We have a proposed budget from city staff that not only doesn't keep pace with the poverty strategy that we approved last year, but cuts out an improved number of daycare spaces that we were supposed to be building this year. In other words, the critical services that people who are truly struggling to afford to live in Toronto rely on are being hurt because we don't have a funding package in the City of Toronto that covers those services. So we're going to have to go further than what's in front of us. And my vote on the package that's in front of us depends on whether or not the Mayor, his allies, and this Council have the courage to actually face our financial problems. I'm going to be looking for the vote on Councillor Davis's motion, or Councillor Campbell's motion, or Councillor Carroll's motion, which actually address paying for the services that Torontonians tell us they need before I vote on this whole package. And if those elements are not there, if those things that actually square our circle, then I will know that this is not a true exercise in delivering the services Torontonians want. The other thing we need to ask, and it's been debated a lot, are the taxes fair? And I want to say right now, road tolls are not fair. They're not fair. This Council complains over and over and over again when anybody suggests that we would actually tax people more for owning a home. Well, I want to ask you to think about this. Which asset demonstrates greater wealth, a home or an automobile? Obviously, if you can afford to buy a home but you don't have an automobile, you're doing better than if you can afford to buy an automobile and you don't own your own home. So the logic that's been used to fight property taxes because it puts certain people at risk applies doubly if you rely only on tolls. Now, if push comes to shove, I'll hold my nose, but only if I see the leadership of this Council support progressive taxation measures, like the sales tax with the low-income rebate or the income tax. And I'm also going to be keeping my eye on whether this Council is prepared to look at property taxes. And I will remind you, because the province of Ontario said that we are not allowed to tax tenants as part of this year's budget, this is the year that if you're truly concerned about equity in costs, this is the year to put a property tax increase in. Thank you.